Are we good, Mr. Clayton?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Today is January 5th, 2021. I'm calling to order the organization meeting of the Wall Township Board of Education for the 2021 school year. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, first we have a sunshine announcement. This is the Wall Township Board of Education meeting. This is the organization meeting of the Wall Township Board of Education meeting, which was advertised in the CoStar, Asbury Park Press, Township Clerk's Office, all Wall Township Public Schools, and in the Board Administration Office on January 16th, 2020. I'll take a roll call of the existing Board of Education at this time. Mr. Agnesiu.
Here.
Mr. Gartz.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Krupa.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mr. Nasser.
Can you? Here.
Mr. Sanfilippo.
Here.
Ms. Stites.
Here.
And Mr. Wondrak.
Here.
Thank you. And that's a roll call of the existing Board of Education because this is the organization meeting. At this time, I'd like to read a statement. I'll first welcome our new Board of Education member, Ms. Hodnett, and read a statement from the Monmouth County Board of Canvassers, which applies to 5 board members this evening. The statement of the determination of the Board of Canvassers relative to the election held in the County of Monmouth on the 3rd day of November in the year 2020 for the election of the Wall Township Board of Education. The said board does determine that at said election, the following persons listed were duly elected. And for the full 3-year seats, or 3 full terms, which are 3-year seats, we have Mr. Christopher Sanfilippo, Mr. Kenneth Wondrak, and Ms. Kristen Hodnett for those full term. And for the 2 unexpired 1-year seats or terms, we have Mr. Adam Nasser and Christine Lang Stites. Congratulations and welcome back to the Board of Education for 4 of you and to Ms. Hodnett as our newest Board of Education member. At this time, I would ask the 4 incumbent board members, as well as Ms. Hodnett, to please stand. We're going to have you raise your hand and we're going to take the, have you be given the oath of office. At this organization meeting, it is a 2-paragraph oath of office. I will read each paragraph separately and have you repeat after each of the paragraphs. And we're going to try to do this in unison with all 5 of you, so it doesn't take all that long. First paragraph is I, you'll state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Of the United States.
Well, you'll, I would ask that you wait till we complete the first paragraph, and then I'll have all 5 repeat at the same time. Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. To the board.
I,
I,
Kristen
Kenneth
Hodnett,
Wondrak,
do solemnly swear
and
that
affirm
I will support the
the
Constitution
Constitution of the United States
and
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will
and I
bear
will
true
hear
faith
faith and allegiance
to the same,
the same
And to the
and to
government
the government established in the United States
established under the United States
and this state
of the people.
under the authority of the people, so
So
help
help
me
me
God.
God.
We are real and genuine and obviously no real. Second paragraph, I state my name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A 12-1 and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of this office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
I,
Christine
Christine
Wondra,
Stites,
do
do
solemnly
solemnly
swear
swear
or
that
affirm
I possess the qualifications prescribed by
prescribed
law
by the office
Office
of
of
a
of a
member of the Board of Education, that I am not disqualified
as a
by a
voter
voter
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
4-1,
to
nor
conviction
nor disqualified due to any conviction of a crime
or offense
or offense
12
listed in New Jersey statute
CA: 12-1,
412-1, and I will faithfully,
impartially, and
perform all the duties of that office according
to the best of my ability. So
best of my ability, so help me God.
Well, that was very well done, and congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome the new Board of Education for the 2021 school year. At this time, I'll take a roll call of the new Board of Education. Mr. Adnesia,
Here.
Mr. Gartz,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Ms. Hodnett,
Here.
Mr. Krupa,
I'm here.
Mr. Nasser,
Here.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Here.
Ms. Stites,
here,
and Mr. Wondra.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, item number 6. At this time, I'll open the floor for nominations for the position of President of the Wall Township Board of Education for the 2021 school year.
I'd like to nominate Ralph Adonisio, please.
Okay, thank
I'll second that.
you. We only need a first. Any other nominations for the position of President? Seeing none, I'll close the floor for nominations of President of the Wall Township Board of Education. I'll take a roll call at this time. Mr. Adnesia,
Yes.
Mr. Gartz,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Krupa,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
yes,
and Mr. Wondrak.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Adnesia. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to President Adnesia.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you all for your support again this year. Looking forward to hopefully a much better year on many fronts. So at this time, we will open up for nominations for Vice President. Mr. Sanfilippo.
I'd like to nominate Andy Krupa.
Okay. Is there any other nominations for Vice President? Seeing none, we will close, and Secretary casts one vote for Mr. Krupa. Congratulations. Or you need a roll call, right, Mr. Smythe? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Robert's Rules of Order, getting them confused.
Okay. Mr. Krupa,
Am I allowed to vote? Okay, then I will vote yes.
thank you. Mr. Nasser,
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
yes,
Mr. Wondrak,
Yes.
Mr. Gartz,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett,
Yes.
and Mr. Adnesia.
Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Krupa. Okay. Number 8 on the agenda is the Board of Education 2021 Code of Ethics. Everybody, I think, has the handout. So what we'll do, like we've done in previous years, we will go around and we'll each read one of the letters, I guess. So I will start. I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and the court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures. So I'll go on my screen. I'll just follow around. Ms. Stites, you're up for B.
I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing.
Thank you. Mr. Wondrak, C.
I will confine my board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, and I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has been consulted, those who will be affected by them.
Thank you. Mr. Hall, D.
I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run.
Thank you. Mr. Nazar, E.
I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education, and I will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board.
F. Mr. Gartz.
I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interest or partisan political groups or to use the schools for personal gain or for the gain of friends.
Thank you. Ms. Hodnett, G.
I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools, which if disclosed would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its schools.
Thank you. H. Mr. Sanfilippo.
I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer.
I, Mr. Krupa.
I will support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties.
Thank you. And J, I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and will act on all complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution. So that completes our required Department of Education Code of Ethics. And we will now move on to number 9 for public comment. Public comment is for agenda items only. So please confine your questions to anything that's on the agenda. Let's see. Mr. Clayton, could you make me an administrator? Ms. Cross?
Hi, Betsy Cross. Are there 2 public comments tonight?
Yes.
Oh, there are. Okay. I don't know. Did you have on there that you were hiring that assistant superintendent for $600 a day? The last agenda I saw, it was on there. So I didn't see a contract, and I don't even see on your website that you have a job description for the person. So I'm not sure how you're hiring somebody tonight. And I said this in December when you were looking to hire that other person from Brick. How are you hiring somebody tonight and you're only telling us we're paying them $600 a day? I put an email into you and welcome, Ms. Hodnett. But I don't even understand this. This is why the township had a lawsuit against them, is because you didn't give the public enough notice with the contract. I want to know all the terms of her contract and if anybody approved it. We need to see the contract. I am all for hiring somebody because Tracy needs help because she's not getting it from the board. So I'm all for hiring somebody, but this blind hiring cannot happen. We are paying 4 prior superintendents right now still, and 1 prior business administrator because of poor poorly written contracts by the school district and then approved by Board of Ed members. So I do not want to see this happen again, because then you 9 are going to be the people that will be doing it. So I brought this up a month ago. I wrote to Lester Richens, and I did not hear back from him. He did follow up on the issues that Brian's withholding from me. And if the attorney bills are received for October for Mr. Scarillo's firm, I would like to see them. And I don't want them held up like you just.
Ms. Cross, that is not on the agenda this evening.
And I cannot believe the board approved Ralph Adonisio to be the president again. It should have been a state monitor. And while I'm glad to see Mr. Gartz is finally showing his face on camera, I'm going to guess it was only because he wanted to be the president tonight. And he doesn't deserve to be the president, based upon his past practices of telling people.
All right, Ms. Cross, I don't see where that's on the agenda this evening.
Sure, it's on the agenda.
Insulting people is not on the agenda, Ms. Cross. So I'm going to, Ms. Cross,
president and a vice.
I'm going to say Happy New Year. And with the new year, we're going to follow rules.
I would like to comment on Mr. Krupa. I'm glad to see that Mr. Krupa has a space here. And if I was going to pick a president, he would have been the president. It would not be Mr. Adonisio with a million conflicts. It would not be. And how he horribly handled the trailer investigation and Mercury in the high school.
Okay, Ms. Cross, that is not on the agenda as well. And your statements are completely false. So I'm going to ask you one last time.
You don't have
anything on the agenda, Ms. Cross?
You tell me which statements are false.
Ms. Cross, do you have anything else for the agenda?
No. You tell me which statements are false, Mr. Adonisio, because you do this all the time.
Mr. McKeever,
this is time to terminate this conversation.
Okay.
Your comments are noted for the record, Ms. Cross. Have a good evening.
And you asked Mr. Adonisio.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Okay, item number 10, could we have a motion to approve the resolution for the Board of Education meetings, times, and dates for 2021?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Sanfilippo. Could I second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Stites. Any questions, discussions? Mr. Krupa? Yes.
Yes. So I have a question for our attorney. With regard to this meeting agenda, are we able to look at that again at any time? Or if we say that this is what our schedule is, then that's it, because it does reflect a change, and there was discussion about what our format would look like. And what I'm speaking specifically to, so it's not ambiguous to anybody, is that previous years we've had workshop meeting and business meetings, as well as committee structure. So I just want to be sure before I vote that this isn't something that is locked and we can't revisit. So if I could get a response from the attorney, that would be great.
No problem. I think I understand a lot of the question. This is going to be your regular meeting schedule, your annual meeting schedule. You can always advertise a work session meeting in accordance with the rules of the Open Public Meetings Act. So I don't want to say it's set in stone. What is set in stone is this is your annual meeting schedule. You can schedule a work session meeting as needed in accordance with the rules of the Open Public Meetings Act. So these aren't necessarily the only times you can ever meet. As a Board of Education, if you agree you want to have a meeting, you have to notice the public and let them know you're having a meeting. So it's not set in stone per se, but these are your annual meetings that will be published. Mr. Smythe will publish them in accordance with the statutes. And they'll be your annual meetings, and then you'll have work sessions in an as-needed basis, as I understand it. And as long as you advertise the meetings in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, it's not a problem.
Good, Mr. Krupa. Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Smythe, roll call, please.
Mr. Gartz,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett,
Yes.
Mr. Krupa,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
Yes.
Mr. Wondrak,
Yes.
and Mr. Adenizio.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Number 11, approval of the Human Resources Report. Could I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gartz. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Sanfilippo. Any questions on that? Seeing none.
I just had one, just to address Mrs. Cross's, that Mrs. Rando's contract was approved by the, and I guess it goes to Tracy, by Mr. Richards, correct?
Correct, yes. Dr. Richens approved Dr. Rando's contract, absolutely.
Thank you. And once this is
When?
approved tonight, that becomes public and we'll put it up on the website like we have your contract. Is that the way that will work? And as far as the job description that she'll be working under, that's something that you'll also be providing, right, as the normal course of, as any employee has a job description. So it's not like we're just hiring somebody and making stuff up. Well, that will be, once she's hired, that will also be part of the website or wherever that information is kept.
Yep. Under the human resources. Yep.
Great. Thank
absolutely.
you.
Mr. Krupa?
In fact, a job description does exist, as though having worked under one of these contractors that and other duties as prescribed, which are going to be very
Many.
specific to needs right now. Is that correct? That there
Yes,
is a job description?
Yes, there is. There is absolutely a job description that has existed. It has existed in the district, and that was also furnished to Dr. Richens as well. And it will be furnished it will be placed on the district website.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Mr. Smythe, roll call, please.
Yeah, and prior to the second roll call, I'll just add an additional note with regard to the public comment. There was no notice provisions required that were referenced from past contracts that were approved by the Board of Education. They do not apply in respect to this contract being approved. This is a new contract, not an amendment of an existing contract. But for the roll call, Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett,
Yes.
Mr. Krupa,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
Yes.
Mr. Wondrak,
Yes.
Mr. Gartz,
Yes.
and Mr. Adenizio.
A yes, but I'm going to abstain on the interim superintendent. I have a family member that works in the district. All right, thank you. Okay, this time we will do public comment. Please raise your hand.
Betsy Cross.
Ms. Smart?
Thank you, Mr. Adenizio.
Good evening.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
We have two items that we just wanted to talk briefly about because they are time sensitive. And we just want to make sure we don't wait until the 19th to get them on a agenda or minutes or a meeting or whatever we want to call this. One of them is the EHBP, which is the new health plan that started January 1st. We had a bit of confusion on premium costs for our paraprofessionals. Currently, if a paraprofessional wants to purchase insurance through the district, they would be paying 70% of the premium cost and the district would be paying 30. They would contribute 30% of that premium cost. When some of the paraprofessionals asked what their cost would be if they went with the new EHBP plan, they were told it would be the same, that it would be 70% of the EHBP plan costs, which for a paraprofessional is about $350 a pay. So some signed up, I do not know how many, but it just did not sit right with the WTEA on a health plan that is expected to benefit an employee from a cost standpoint. So we did ask for a legal opinion of do the paraprofessionals fall under the EHBP? And because the district does contribute to the plan, they did fall under it and fall under either 5.5% of the premium cost or 1.7% of their salary, whichever is less. 1.7 is less, and instead of them paying $350 per pay period, they're paying approximately $25 per pay period. 15 of our paraprofessionals have come and asked to sign up, and they went to the business office, and I believe that they're all signed up. I just want to make sure that there is not an arbitrary window put in front of these people that just found out this information during Christmas break. We want to make sure that we again try to get the word out to the other 110 paraprofessionals that normally would not buy health insurance through the district because of its cost. So we just wanted to make sure that if people have not reached out as of this moment, we had a head rep meeting today. We're going to get the word out again to these people. And if they want to join and have been given the wrong premium cost before the winter break, that they would have the opportunity to sign up. So that is our number one issue. Our other issue is our nurses. And we do thank you folks for approving a job posting for nurses, but no one has been brought on to work with our nurses. We had, one building had 60 emails yesterday and 25 voicemails to get back to on potential symptoms and positive, not positive situations with their children. We had one building where when the two nurses, because the high school's nurse and the COVID nurse were working on all the students that had to clear to come back to school. One of them worked till 9 o'clock last night, and one worked from 6 p.m. till 1 a.m. and still could not get all of the clearances done. With 30 positives yesterday, they're worried because they can't get to all that they are responsible for. The sub-nurse that was in yesterday, Kristen, who thank goodness is, giving them probably 2 days a week, but she's not one of the new folks. She's been with the district. Said to the nurses, there was 3 nurses working at the intermediate school, and she said, this workload is impossible to get through. We're not here to complain. They are worried that sports start next week and they don't have time to work their normal job, and would wonder if we would consider bringing on a temporary basis some BIA nurses, that they could be assigned jobs like getting the clearances done for the students that have to come back. My daughter just corrected me. I said that wrong, BIATA nurses. And, they don't want to complain. They want to make sure their job is done correctly. And they think more hands on deck right now would be a benefit. So because no other nurses were hired yet, and they're still working through all of those family gatherings, there is a lot of children in the district that are showing COVID symptoms or are positive. they don't want any of them slipping through the cracks. So they just wanted to let everybody know what they thought might help. Thank you.
Hey, Gail,
Yes.
before you get off, this is Russell. Could you, if you know, if not in an email, could you just verify the date of the initial information shared with the paras and the date of the corrected information shared with the paras? Could you just share
Well,
that with us?
I mean, I think the dates probably would be with Brian. The information I believe that came out did not specifically talk about costs for
Well, that's what I'm
paraprofessionals.
asking you though. I mean, you're here saying that it was a mistake. I just want to make sure we have the right information. So if you could get that to me, it doesn't have to be now. Just
So you're talking about actual emails where the cost was $350 instead of 25?
yeah, whatever information was
Yes.
shared with them, like the first time, and then what information was shared with them to inform them
Yes.
of the change. That's all.
Yes, absolutely.
And then my other question would be with the nurses, was what you just stated tonight directed to, I believe it's Carol Duffy as a concern or a recommendation, or is this the first time it's being shared?
This came from just this week. They knew that there was a meeting tonight and wanted to get that recommendation out. They called me at about 2:00 today. I do believe they were following up, and I probably talking to Nancy first. But what they were trying to do is catch me knowing that I would have maybe a voice at this meeting. But I'm
Okay.
sure they're touching base with either Nancy or Carol too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Krupa?
Yeah, Mr. President, I have a question to our administrative team here. We have a school physician, and I'm not sure who that is or whether it's a independent or a group. Do you guys know? Because that would set me up for what my follow-up question is. Is it an individual or is it a group? Like Bayada?
I believe it's part of a group.
Okay, one of the things that worked well in the situation that I'm aware of, and I'm just throwing it out there, is that for the things which would be related to athletics and clearances and all that, which I know really consumed the nurses. I think it was referenced by Mr. Mayor, their regular job. If that somehow could be more assistance from the group or the service that we're paying for to assist the nurses. I don't know, I'm just making that suggestion as a possibility. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Not the COVID searches.
No, it does. It is. I could certainly speak to our athletic director, Mr. Radu. And again, I'm new to this district, but in my prior district, the school nurse would gather, collect with the athletic department, and the school physician has to sign off on it. So they do the preliminary work before it's passed on to the school physician for the school physician's approval and clearance. So I can certainly speak to Mr. Radu regarding process.
Yeah, that sometimes there's a very tight ownership of that by very honorable and conscientious nurses, but we have to pick and choose where our resources and our battles are. Not that a service which we're paying for and have to follow some of the same rules couldn't assist us with that. It's just a question. And then with regards to the question about the paras, I know, and some of the other board members might recall this as well. I thought we did speak to that process. I think it was Aaron that was very concerned about making sure that that date and that information. I thought we did get some information, that it wouldn't be just a willy-nilly cutoff date, that there was some time period. I thought, and maybe it's even in the minutes or the video of our previous meetings. When is that time period?
Maybe Mr. Smythe, do you recall the dates off the top of your head? Because I do not.
There was an open enrollment period at the end of November into December. I think the closing date was second or third week in December, but it was left open for anyone who was still interested in enrolling in the educator's health plan, and they were enrolled up and through December 31st.
So is it too late for them to get into it if people decide that's what they want, knowing additional information, it sounds like, that maybe they weren't aware of, or is that it?
I have to follow up on that.
Okay. Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I'm just a little confused because, again, I'm in a situation where I have a wife who's a teacher in a district in the state and a daughter, and they receive their information from the state and from the NJEA and from their local union. As far as the paperwork, and I remember sitting at the kitchen table and going through it all. And it was pretty explicit, what the costs were, how much it was going to be. So I'm kind of shocked on Gail, and I'm not discounting what she's saying. I was just under the impression that the district itself was basically the portal where you signed up through, but really this was really more of a state rollout, and that the state provided all the information, and the NJEA, obviously being very proactive with that, got involved and said, okay, well, give it to us. And then they dispersed it amongst their membership. I don't know, like, it sounds like, we're saying that this district didn't provide all the information to the paras as far as what was available to them. And that's where I'm a little confused. So hopefully, Gail can, to get back to Russell on some of those questions that he asked, just to understand, because it just doesn't sound the way it worked, at least in Wall, the way it worked in the districts that I'm familiar with, and how they rolled it out. All the information came from the NJEA. That's where we got our packets. That's where we got, this is the call, everything was from them. So again, I would go back to Gail, and hopefully maybe if we could, I don't know, Mr. President, allow her to re-speak if it would be signed. I think this is an important issue that maybe we'd want to get more clarity on, because I think it's something that we got to make sure.
Let me see if she's still here. Let's try. Let's see. It's saying ask to unmute.
You have it to ask me to unmute.
Oh, okay. You'll be next. Hold on one second. Gail? No? Why? Oh.
Hello.
Gail?
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Hi, Joe. Yes, the NJEA did give to all of its members information on the EHBP. They gave charts, they had webinars, and then we awaited the information coming back from the district. Brian did send out information, I want to say 2 or 3 times, which explained the information again. And the problem isn't in any of that rollout. The problem is when the paraprofessional who does not fall under paying for their health benefits like the rest of the district, like we all paid 18% of the premium cost for, I guess maybe 3 years now. So Brian and the business department set down the information. The paras did not ever pay 18%. They always paid 70% of the premium cost because we never were able to negotiate them paying 18%. So if they bought health benefits from the district, they were sort of in a different category. So some of them reached out early on when Brian's information came out and asked about the costs. I mean, I do know a couple of them from the intermediate school. I don't want to just say their names in person. And they were given information. One of them signed up. One of them signed up for a policy that was over $300. a pay period, and that's single coverage because they can't get family coverage at 70% of the premium cost. They'd have to pay 100% of the premium cost if it's family, because we never negotiated that. That's not the district's fault. So I know of one that was given the cost, needed her health benefits, and did sign up at 300 plus for the cost. And I know another one got costs that were that high. I want to say one was closer to 400 a pay period, and said, no, I can't. I'm going to try to get back into Obamacare. And once we heard about that in December, that's when we reached out to the NJEA and said, it doesn't sound right, although they did not get health benefits like the rest of the district did at 18% of the premium cost. The district did contribute money towards their health benefits, and they did a legal research analysis and came back to us and said, no, because the district does pay part of the contribution, they fall under Chapter 44, which is the EHBP, and they too should be getting offered the cost at 1.7% of their salary. And I have both of the ladies checking emails now to get the dates on when that happened, but it might not be while we're at the meeting.
Right. I guess, Gail, where I'm confused is that the paras were always covered and going to get it for the 1.7. I don't understand why you keep mentioning like 300 or 350 a pay period when they got this information.
They weren't told that they were going to get it for 1.7. They were told originally that they were going to have to pay 70% of the EHBP plan.
That's what the state paperwork said.
That's what the business office said. Our business office.
But that's not what would have been in the plan or the NJEA information to them.
Correct. That's why they questioned it, because they wanted to make sure that they were getting 1.7% or 5.5% of the premium. So they asked the question, they sent an email, and they were told, no, they don't get it at that cost.
Mr.
Krupa.
Thank you. Can we refer this to the business administrator and the lawyer? Because this is, and our chief administrator to flesh this out, because some of this sounds right to me. And I think there's a difference for the para based on what I've heard today and the previous conversations. I think the more important, equally important thing, not more, equally important thing is that they have the right information, they have the due by date, and we stick to that. Every year there's the open enrollment and people can make changes. So I think rather than trying to hash this out here, refer it to those people I just said, and let's move on. Let's get this taken care of, because that was the concern that Aaron Mangan brought up and some others. So let's make sure they have the right information. The questions on whether they fall under the same guidelines as non-paras, just to be using that term, that should be answered by our experts.
Yeah, maybe you could reach out and schedule a meeting with Mr. Smythe and Dr. Handerhan. And,
Mr. Addonizio, as a F&F chair, we've discussed it several times over the last 6 weeks or 2 months. So I will be addressing it as well with Dr. Hanrahan and Brian as of tomorrow.
Okay.
And we'll be back to this topic for sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional clarification, I agree. It should not be a discussion for a Board of Education meeting when you get into specifics of employees. However, the same information was provided to every employee in the district from my correspondence. It isn't that all employees other than paraprofessionals pay 18% toward their health benefits. That's not accurate. That may be WTEA members, but there are other employees in the district that pay different rates. The formulas that were provided, the spreadsheets that were provided the cost calculations. What does come into consideration with regard to employees and the collective bargaining agreement is whether they are eligible for not only single, but parent, child, member, spouse, or family. Some members in the WTEA collective bargaining agreement and perhaps other positions in the district are not eligible for all areas of coverage. They are only eligible for single coverage. So an employee who may want to buy up or member, spouse, parent, child, or family is going to pay 100% of the additional premium for that coverage. That was under the old language as well as the new application of the law with the educator's health plan. During the early rollout of the educator's health plan in a I believe it was a call, it could have been an email to the business office. It was communicated to paraprofessionals. There was conflicting information. When I was contacted with regard to paras being eligible for the educator's health plan, the answer was absolutely. And the information that was provided was applicable. There was a couple employees that were provided incorrect information that was clarified with those employees prior to the end of open enrollment. And if any other employee has a concern or a question, they're more than welcome to contact the business office with regard to enrollment in the educator's health plan, which we have said on every communication that we repeatedly provided to all employees in the district with regard to the special open enrollment.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. Ms. Cross?
Betsy Cross, I live in Wall. Yeah, I just wanted to go over the new hire for the assistant superintendent. You know, I know she retired. She retired making $201,000, so she's collecting a $7,694.35 a month. And I'm just trying to get a handle on what you approved. So if the 9 of you are going to pay the $600 a day in her contract, that's great. But if the taxpayers are going to be paying it, you need to let us know tonight what is in her contract. What does that mean, $600 a day? Is she getting paid, you know, are you counting the weekends in there? What is she being paid over the term of this contract? How many sick days? How many vacation days? What extra perks does she get? So that's great. If you don't answer my questions tonight, the 9 of you can absolutely pay her. And Mr. Lester Richens, he can chip in too. But without seeing a contract and without seeing a job description, and there is no job description for an assistant superintendent online, we haven't had one since Sandra Brower, it's not there. So you will need to approve a job description for an assistant super because you don't have one online. And you'll need to do it at a public meeting. So I'd like all those answers to all those questions tonight, or feel free to pay the premium, pay the numbers. And then this is, you know, is this a new format that if you're a WTEA member, you get over 5 minutes and you go around in a circle and you call them back on? And if you're a parent or a taxpayer in the district, you don't get that. So maybe just, you know, document that of how you're now doing this. Because whenever I want to go over the 5 minutes, Mr. Adonisio just cuts me off. It doesn't matter if you're talking about your kid, if you're talking about health issues, it does not matter. I am cut off. So please don't cut me off tonight, Mr. Adonisio. And then, I don't know, Mr. Adonisio, I think you said that I lied or I said something false. You were not able to vote on the contract for the assistant superintendent. So I'd like you to tell me, so it's on the record, what was I lying about? You have conflicts and you have major conflicts, and that's why you should not be a Board of Ed president. Andy Krupa does not. So the better choice for the board would have been to have Andy Krupa as the president and not yourself. So that was my point. I want to go over, I sent a couple emails in particular on my son and a class that he submitted for. And it just seems like my child isn't being paid for. And for everything I'm reading, it says that the district is paying for people in their local school district, which is my son in Wall Township. So I don't know if he's being singled out, but I wrote you on November 11th, December 11th, and December 30th. 31st, and I do not have anything back in writing. So I would like somebody to get me something back in writing and let me know what you're doing with this, because the payment for my son is due this Friday. And if you're going to single him out and just not pay for him, please put it back in writing so that we have that. And if you could give me an update on that, I'd appreciate it. On the central school trailers, I can't wait till this investigation is over. I have had some really, really, really great conversations with people. So I can't wait till this is over. And Mr. Kiever, could you ask, I know he's got some interviews coming up. Can you ask him to give me a call before Friday? I would really appreciate it, because I have some information that I want to be sure he has before these interviews. Mr. Smythe has not answered simple questions. We cannot follow the money. We don't know where the $625,000 went. We don't know where the extra $200,000 went. We don't know how much we paid the architect. We can't say where the trailers came from because they were supposed to be refurbished in Princeton and brought here that way. And that's not what we had. It looks like the bidding documents weren't right. I could go on and on off the top of my head. So I can't wait until this is wrapped up, because you have wasted at least $100,000. Every board member sitting here has contributed to that, and the other 5 or 6 that resigned in 2019. So, you know, to think that you don't want to pay $675 for my son when you're paying this woman $600 a night is outrageous. And why she wasn't here on the call tonight and hired tonight when the other guy was supposed to be hired on January 4th doesn't even make any sense.
Thank you, Ms. Cross.
So-
Time is up.
So, yeah.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Mr. Smythe, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Not only that, I'll comment with regard to the reference to budgeted numbers or funds that were part of a lease purchase back in 2008. All the accounting for the lease purchase was audited on an annual basis each year that those payments were made. Ms. Cross has been provided every payment that was issued under that lease purchase. With regard to the 1.4 million, there was a number of projects in there. Every payment that was provided to any vendor under that lease purchase was provided to Ms. Cross. The confusion perhaps is, you know, 625,000, 325,000 is, one was a budgeted number and one was an actual number. And it's not that anything happens with the difference between budgeted numbers and actual numbers that the board doesn't take formal action on. That was done throughout the process. So every question has been answered. All the documents have been provided. And there was nothing wrong with the bidding process. It was publicly bid. We haven't provided how much the architect was paid. That's been asked and answered. I think I still recall the numbers being 40,000. That was part of the documentation that was paid as part of the lease purchase, and all that information has previously been provided.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. Dr. Hanrahan, did you have anything that you wanted to add this evening?
No, just wishing Happy New Year to all. And I would like to echo the sentiment that, we're really looking forward to, certainly an improved 2021. And I want to thank all the employees in the district for really doing an outstanding job working with our students and our families.
Thank you. Okay. Any additional business for this evening? Anybody have anything? No? All right. Seeing none, could we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Oh, all in favor? All right. Good night, everyone. Stay safe.